Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday evening. That means it's time for another edition of Circle Track Chatter, presented in partnership with Dupuy Media Productions. My name is Craig Smolders, joined as always by the legendary Rob Young. Good evening, Rob. How are you tonight?
I'm great, Craig. You?
I am very well, thank you. Spring is starting to spring a little bit here. We're starting to get some warm weather, some sunshine, some nice days. What do you think of all that?
Yeah, it's great. So it won't be long before we start seeing a bunch of those race cars getting closer to being completed and posting them up there on Facebook so we can all see them and get excited about opening night.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And of course, the big Motorama show down in Toronto this past weekend. So anybody that was able to get down there, I know Buxton Speedway was down there, and yeah, we got a chance to see some race cars and some drivers, and communicate with some people and stuff like that. So that was cool to see that big show. Tonight, we're going to be talking to a different type of driver, not a dirt driver. Tonight, we'll be talking to a Delaware driver. Rob, just for fun, just take a listen to this. He's been racing for 18 years. Starting this season, it'll be his 18th year. 6 championships and over 90 races. 6 most popular and most sportsmanlike awards, and an average finish of 2.75. What do you think of that, Rob?
He's an amazing young man and a extremely talented race car driver, and he's been doing it since just about when he learned how to walk. So most all his life. So he's just he's a fun guy to watch, and I'm glad to be a fan of his.
Awesome. And we don't want to give him an opportunity to cut you off. So before we bring him in here, do you got any funny, embarrassing stories maybe that you'd like to share with us that he won't be able to defend before he jumps on here?
No, he's the life of the party. Whenever they have a get together at the Morneau garage, he's all about taking care of the people that help him along the way. He's got a really huge fan base, and they're all there to help him. And so I don't really have anything bad to say about Ray. Now his uncles, I can tell you stories about them that'll curl your hair, but Ray, he's just a perfect gentleman and a really good kid, and I've always thought a lot of him. So yeah, can't wait to talk to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we went to see him a couple of years ago in Delaware, watch him race, and had an opportunity to do a little interview with him. And yeah, like you said, heck of a nice guy, and just answer the questions, no problem. I walked to him and said, "Hey, Ray, how's it going?" He said, "Hey, how you doing? Want to do an interview?" Sure. And away we went. So we did a little interview. He said, "Oh yeah, like you said, heck of a nice guy, very humble. Talk to anybody, but we're not here to talk about us. We're here to talk to him. So let's get Ray Morneau on here and let's have a little chit chat with him." Good evening, Ray Morneau. Thank you very much for taking some time out of your March break Monday to join us on Circle Track Chatter. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
We are good. We are good. What do you think of the warm weather starting? The weather's starting to warm up, some sunshine. What do you think of all that?
Oh, it's really nice. I actually just got in from working in the shop and had the garage doors open, and it's nice. This weather gets you pumped up to get to the racetrack and get out working on the race cars.
Absolutely. And were you down at Motorama this past weekend?
Yeah, we were. We were able to be part of the Night of Champions. We won a championship last year at Delaware, so we went down there and got a little plaque and got to be with all the other champions. And they put on a really good show there. So it's pretty cool to get to walk around, see some race cars, some classic cars, and get an award while you're there.
Absolutely. Rob, do you have any opening questions for Ray before we get going here?
No, but I got to show you. I got a shirt on. See that? Might be backwards, but I'm supporting my I got to be careful what I say because my son-in-law is races too, so I don't want to say him. But I've known Ray since he was knee high to a grasshopper, and just a fine racer. I do want to say that behind Ray, there's a whole army of people that help Ray, and that's what's kind of helped him along. Ray hasn't had a lot of huge sponsorship in his racing career, but he's had some really good people behind him that have supported him. And hopefully, before the show's over, I'll just throw a bunch of names out there and honor these people. So again, we don't want to keep the show too long, so we're going to let Ray tell us all about him. himself. But I'm going to make sure I make that part of the show.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, I mean, opening question as always, Ray. I guess the most important thing I'd like to know is, were you born into a racing family, or did you kind of start racing on your own? Was racing a thing for you when you were just getting started? How did you get introduced into racing, Ray?
I was born right into it. My dad and uncles started racing back at Checker, and I think it was '85, and I was born into it. I think I was 4 or 5, and they fudged some numbers on my uh, form for Delaware to get into the pits. So I was 4 or 5 in the pits at Delaware working on my uncle's cars, and then from there, my dad got me a micro sprint, and the rest is history.
All right. Well, let's start with the micro sprint. Why, at what point how old were you, or at what point did you kind of decide that, I want to keep working on the cars, but I also want to, I don't mind working on the cars, but I wouldn't mind trying my hand at driving them. What kind of drove you into that to really get into the racing part of it?
I always really, really enjoyed working on the cars. It was one of the things that, I mean, I didn't really have a choice. My dad was in the garage all the time, and I just wanted to be with my dad and my uncles and work on the cars. So I enjoyed that, but then it was getting to the point where my dad he was asking me if I wanted to try it, and we went to Grand Bend the year before we bought our car, and went and checked it out. He thought it was a really good avenue to go racing, and I thought it was I thought I was all for it. To get to start racing and be like my uncles, it's all I ever wanted.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, he talked about his uncles, but his dad Randy and his uncle Ray, Uncle Ricky, um, they were extremely good racers themselves at Checker Flag and on the dirt at Ridgetown. So yeah, when he says he was born into it, the whole family were racers. His grandfather was a flagman, and that's where I first got to meet the Morneau family. I had no idea that they only lived a mile away from where I lived in Windsor. And also his uncle Rob did a lot of the photography and video that we still watch a lot of that stuff to this day. So he was really born into it, and I'm amazed at at how long he's been racing. I think it's 18 years. He said he's been racing. So what's that make you, Ray? You're 24, 25?
Yeah, I'm 24. I'll be 25 in November.
Good for you. So anyway, tell us a little bit about that micro sprint.
Yeah, so the micro sprints were a super good start. I started when I was 7 or 8, right in there. And it's the perfect like starter class. Grand Bend still has the micro sprints, and it's perfect. When we were there was tons of cars. There was 30, 40 cars a night. It was awesome to get started. And with that class, you bought like a micro sprint, and then it was just a restrictor plate for the younger kids. So that's how I started. And then once you got, I think it was 10 or 11. No, it was 11 or 12. You could pull the restrictor plate out, and then you could go to another class just without the restrictor plate. And that's what we did. We thought it was the best for us, and it worked out good. We had a lot of success there. My my uncles, they worked hard on that car, and we used to time the bearings every week, and it was my dad and uncles. That's with a go-kart. That's all you can really do is just make them free roll, and they were adamant on that. So every night after we were done working on the car, they'd adjust the bearings a little bit and then spin it and time it, and didn't like it, so they'd adjust it again, and it was a lot of fun watching it. And then I'd get tired and go inside and go to bed.
When you started racing, having been in the pits and kind of working on the cars and watching the races, once you jumped in that micro sprint your first time, did you think you had it all figured out and you were going to go out there and win a race, and then were humbled when it didn't turn out to be quite as easy as you thought, or were you prepared to not be tearing it up right off the hop?
Well, my dad and uncles didn't really prepare me very well, because when we raced NASCAR on like video games, they used to let me win, and I really, really don't like not winning.
Yeah.
So that wasn't really good. But the first practice day, I got a little story here. The first practice day, we went out, and I came in I told my dad, like, the steering, I can't turn the car. And he just thought I was being a wimp. So we went back out. And then we came in and I told him, like, I can't steer the car. I'd go into the corner on the bottom and then I'd be up the track. And he just, like I said, he thought I was a wimp. But turns out the steering shaft was where the Heim was. There wasn't two spacers on the other side, and it was digging into the ground. So I really couldn't steer it. So that was my introduction to micro sprint racing. But we got it figured out from there and had a lot of success and a lot of fun.
Were you kind of flipping out when the car wasn't quite running right for you, right off the hop? Were you blaming dad and uncle over there and say, "Come on, guys, like let's get it together here. This is embarrassing," or were you just like, "Oh well, that's our first one."
No, I wasn't really blaming them. I was kind of frustrated because I knew it wasn't right, but no, it's part of the bumps and curves you go through with learning, and we got it figured out. And like I said, we just had a lot of fun building the car and having fun running it.
Excellent, Rob. Do you have any questions about any of that?
Well, Ray was talking about the bearings and stuff like that. How every week they really maintained them, made sure that they rolled good. I remember we raced some go-kart stuff too, and I used to just use trailer bearing grease on my bearings until Chris Cuvion was teasing me about it. He says, "We don't use that stuff. We use that white lithium grease." What was that? The kind of grease you used to get them to roll pretty good?
I can't remember back then what we had. I know we used to take the bearings out every week and the chain, and we'd soak them in. I forget what the oil was. We soaked them in an oil for 4 to 5 days, and then I can't remember what grease we used, but yeah, it was a lot of work. But like I said, it prepares you for when you move up.
Yeah, it's like the little things that you pay attention to. Even I know that a lot of guys even they take a brand new chain and they'll soak it in oil and they'll keep that in like an oven or heat that chain up to get it to stretch a little bit. It's pretty technical when you look at those micro sprints or even go-karts. Yeah, there's a lot of little things you do to make that thing fast, but that a lot of people wouldn't know. But anyway, back to you, Craig.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was 2009, I believe, that you kind of started racing the micro sprint, and you kind of hung around there for about a year, and then you wanted to try your hand at some go-karting and the micro sprint as well. But what led you to go back into the go-kart? Was it just get into the go-kart? Sorry, Ray. But was it just to get more racing experience, or did you want to try your hand at some different type of racing?
It actually, my dad hurt his back at work, I think it was, or whatever it was. And the ride down to Grand Bend would hurt his back a lot, and then all the work at the track would hurt his back a lot. So this track was 5 minutes from home. I had to go dirt racing and have that too.
Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, that's that one picture in the top right-hand corner. That would have been Fog Raceway, where a lot of guys raced, and I often say it was a lot of the dads would bring their kids there. A lot of guys who were retired from racing bring their kids there to race, and that's both Ray and his cousin RJ did very well racing there. So, but anyway, that brings back a lot of memories. Back to you there, Craig.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of Victory Lane pictures there. So obviously you were pretty competitive right off the hop, and then at some point you decide that you wanna step up to something a little bit different. But sticking with the go-karts just a little bit, do you think that what you got in go-karting and the micro sprint, do you think that transferred over to the big track, the big cars, or was it just a whole other learning experience once you got onto the big track?
I think it did help a little bit. Just you're so young, you don't know what to do, kind of thing, right? So I mean, it definitely helped from you're having no experience to jumping into a full size car. I think it helped just having a little bit of like racecraft kind of thing. Like you sort of understand. You're so young, but you catch on to things quicker, right? And I definitely think it helped, especially the next car that we jumped into was at Grand Bend. So I had a lot of experience there. I'd been racing for 4 or 5 years there. So I had a fairly good idea of what to do at Grand Bend. Obviously, a different car, faster and heavier. It was a lot different, but just gave me an idea of where the scenery of Grand Bend and where pickup points were, where you need to brake and throttle up, and it helped, I think.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
No, that's I just there's one thing that did come to mind. I remember Ray when he was about that age. He wrote a letter to me as it was a sponsorship letter. Now I didn't bring it with me. I won't show it, but I kept that letter for all these years, and that's even at the age that he was. He knew how important it was to have a sponsor or to get sponsors or to and how you went about it. So he's all of that groundwork. It's pretty cool to read that stuff all these years later. How he's asking for a little support, and he just knows the whole racing game. It's pretty cool to see him at the age he is now and how well he's done and where he's come from. So anyway, back to you there, Craig.
All right, absolutely. So 2015, I guess you kind of decide you want to go up to the big track. You jump into a super stock. Why did you kind of jump into that instead of, kind of a mini stock or something a little bit smaller to kind of get used to the big track? What led you to just jump right into the big ones right away?
So we ended up through that micro sprint to the super stock. We did run a legend car for a couple years at Grand Bend, but the reason for the super stock was we were on the fence about what to do when we were running a legend car. And then we went to the States and went to Flat Rock Speedway for a Stan E Memorial race, a big super late model race. And the street stocks over there had a huge car count, awesome racing. So that was kind of something that my dad and my Uncle Dan, they were talking about kind of the next step for me, and they thought that might be the best place to go. Nice and close to home. It's only a half hour over the border. It's basically the closest track to us. Unfortunately, it's in another country, and but that was our reasoning for going over to the big cars in the States, and then started to venture our way over into Ontario.
Okay, Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, that's when he's that's a flat rod truck. When he talks about the street stocks, they're almost like a late model, but very a lot of technical stuff with those race cars. And both Ray and his dad Randy are extremely knowledgeable when it comes to chassis, and it showed when they ran over there, and they did very well. Ray won a championship. We were all proud as Canadians to go over there, and as he said, it was only half hour over from Windsor, and really good racing. I don't know if we'll get to it, but hopefully Ray's going to talk about the fact that the orange car in the 03, that's exactly the way Jack Monahan's cars used to be. And Ray reminds me a lot of Jack Monahan, very extremely talented and calculating as far as his driving is concerned, and very popular. So I'm sure we'll get to that later on in the show. Back to you, Craig.
Yeah. Was there I know you said it was in another country, but other than that, was there something that kind of guided you towards racing, like at Delaware or whatever, that kind of ventured your way there? Was there something that kind of made you want to race there, other than other than being right in Ontario and kind of being close to home or whatever? But was there something that really attracted you to Delaware Speedway, or was it just kind of that's just where I have to race because that's what I have?
It was I've always enjoyed Delaware. My uncle's raced there for years, and it is our closest asphalt track anyway. So yeah, we're kind of not stuck there, but I really enjoy it. But to go to the States, like for us right now, like to run a late model, it just doesn't really make sense for us with the American money and stuff like that. So Delaware is our home track, and I enjoy it.
Okay. Can you just give, for the people that may not know the layout of Delaware, can you just kind of tell people how big it is and what it's like trying to get around that track?
It's a half mile, and it's shaped like an egg. If you look at like a Google Maps aerial view, it's really weird. 1 and 2 is a tighter radius corner, and 3 and 4 is kind of a bit sweeping. I find a little bit less banking, and 1 and 2 I find you get to the bottom and there's rumble strips across the bottom, and you can use those to kind of make the car do what you want to do. And then 3 and 4 is an open book. There's a lot of different ways that you can attack it. You can kind of diamond the corner. You can enter way high and try and cut across and get off the corner low. It's 3 and 4 is a lot of fun because there's so many different ways that you can get through there. But it's just I really enjoy it.
Excellent. Rob, you have any questions about that?
Well, you mentioned that his uncle raced there. His uncle Ray was a multi-time champion in the at one time I think they call it the super stock division, but it was like the street stocks. Man, that was a time there. He was unbeatable. He used to race against Dave Lawrence, who was probably one of the best at the time. And they and also his uncle Dan Monahan, he's talking about, they all raced down there. But yeah, they both the Windsor guys both owned that track, and so Ray's just following in their footsteps. But it was a lot of fun going down there and watching, and it's a lot of fun watching Ray there now, and along with the other Windsor guys too. But anyway, just thought I'd add that in there. Back to you there, Craig.
All right. So, do you have a right now up to this point in like what we're talking about here? Have you got a favorite racing memory? Maybe a favorite win, something cool that really happened between the micro sprint and kind of moving up into the big cars? Have you got something that stands out in your mind that was like, wow, that's the most incredible thing I've ever experienced?
Yeah, it would be in the street stock. The one actually, it wasn't that car that's on the screen right now, but it was the year after we built a new car from McCall's and went to Flat Rock Speedway in the States, and we won the was it was there was a like a 45-minute red flag, which ended up being one of my sponsors was having a health issue in the stands. It was crazy. It was a wild race, and we won, and it was super super cool. There's 3-4 wide racing through the race, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Just also, a little earlier I was telling you about how Ray's grandfather, Ray Morneau Sr., was a big supporter of his, but so was his grandpa, Ronnie T-Bear. That would be his mom, Lisa's dad. They used to give me updates regularly on Ray. His grandfather was a camper, and he'd come in and tell me, oh yeah, it was either about Grand Bend or one of the races. He was very proud of you, Ray. Both of them were very proud of you, and they weren't afraid to tell everybody. So it's pretty cool. Now I'm a grandfather, and I can't wait for my grandson to start racing. So. Not to bore you with all that, but back to you, Ray, or back to you, Craig. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So Flat Rock, you were racing at Flat Rock. I know the next picture here is going to be you in Victory Lane. Talk about that track a little bit. Again, same thing. People that may not know, what is it like getting around that track?
It's a quarter mile, banked fairly well, and it's just a big bowl. Like you're always turning, always working the wheel. It was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. That picture means a lot with my grandpa and sister. Yeah, we had a lot of fun there. Won a championship, finished second in points twice. Had a lot of success there. And I'd like to get back there. The late models run there, so I'd like to try and get back there, but I think we'd have a fairly good shot. We had it under control when we were there in the Street Stock Series, so I'd like to try the late model there.
Okay, well, a curious question then, between a quarter mile and a half mile, what's your preferred racing? You like that short track racing, or you like the little bit more of a hammer down half mile and high banked racing? What do you like better?
I don't know. I really enjoy both. I just like racing.
Just get in a car and race, eh?
Yeah, they both have their little tendencies for the way the race goes and stuff like that. But I just really enjoy racing.
Oh, I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, go to a racetrack and show up to a racetrack with a race car and go racing. That's what it's all about anyway, right? It's supposed to be fun. You just travel down the road and race where you can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Rob, do you have any questions or comments about that?
Well, in that picture, obviously, that's Ray's grandpa, Ray Morneau Sr. And his sister Dana. She's a huge supporter of his. Dana has a little business called Dana's Desserts, and of course, whenever I go to Delaware, I ask her to bring some of her desserts so that I can sample them on the way home. And I don't want to tell you that I'm sure that they're low fat, they're very low calories, so they're okay. You can eat a whole box on the way home, which I have done. And but anyway, she's a huge supporter of his, and has been for as long as I can remember. As long as she was knee high to a grasshopper as well. But yep, it's really nice to see that whole family thing. I'm often you see it quite well, not too often, but it's nice to see your whole family involved in that, Ray. And everybody can have a lot of fun and enjoy your successes. So keep up the good work. Anyway, back to you, Craig.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like Rob was saying, it's definitely a family thing for you. I mean, it's not too bad that you have fans that maybe want to come and meet up with you. But when you roll back into the pit, you want to make sure that your family's there. That's the first people that you really want to see, because it really is a family sport for you guys, isn't it, Ray?
Yeah, definitely. I the support I have from my family, friends. I mean, like Rob said, we have a pretty good following, and if it wasn't for that, I mean, my family, my mom, my dad, my sister, they're all in, and I'm grateful for it.
Awesome. So 2019, we're starting the later part of 2019. The world starts going a little bit crazy because of COVID, and things are starting to shut down a little bit. How did you kind of keep yourself loose and keep yourself occupied when things were starting to shut down for you?
I just got iRacing that Christmas before COVID, so I was an iRacing machine. That's all I did. And then we didn't think we were racing. So this is a funny story. We didn't think we were racing. I think my sister and mom and my uncles were outside having a few drinks, and we got the bright idea. We used to race RC cars in our garage, and with the two cars, we couldn't do it. So we decided to build an RC car track in our backyard, and it was a great idea then. It seemed like so much fun. And then they announced like 2 weeks after we were done building the track that we're going racing. So that got put on the back burner, and we've been racing ever since. So we haven't done a whole lot of racing on it, but it looks cool.
Do you like that iRacing, or you prefer the? I mean, obviously you're a driver, so you would prefer the real thing. But what do you kind of think about that iRacing? Are you super competitive on there? Are you wrecking people, or are you just no? I'm just gonna race my race because I don't want anybody yelling at me.
It depends what server I'm on and what time of night it is and who I'm racing with. So it's a mixed bag. You get some races where it's a lot of fun, and I do enjoy it. It's a ton of fun. I don't have the time for it right now. The last like year and a half I just haven't been on at all. But I really enjoyed it. I was fairly competitive, I think, and just it takes a lot of time. It's so much different than the real car. Obviously, you don't have the feel from your butt, like the feel of the seat. So that takes a little bit of getting used to. You just use your visuals and the sound, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. But I had a lot of fun with it.
Awesome, Rob. How about you? How are you on the iRacing? Have you ever done any iRacing at all?
Nope. No, I just that's all high tech stuff. Us old guys, we don't get involved in that. But anyway, not to miss the opportunity. When Ray talks about that RC track, it's actually a concrete racetrack in the backyard, and they used to race. In the wintertime, they'd have their RC races, and they had a whole point system and everything. Like it was pretty competitive. just like a regular racetrack, and everybody'd show up there. I don't know, I think it was Saturdays, and they race their RC cars. And then, as Ray said, they moved them outside, but they didn't just build a little dirt track. This thing's actually concrete, and it's got walls all the way around it, and it's a pretty neat little deal. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. But anyway, back to you, Craig.
All right. Well, at this point, we're about halfway through the show, so we're just going to step aside here for about a minute and a half. We'll take a quick commercial break with a word from our sponsor, Dupuis Media Productions, and we will be right back with Ray Morneau on Circle Track. All right, welcome back to Circle Track Chatter. Craig Smolders and Rob Young talking to Delaware Pro late model driver Ray Morneau. We were just talking about a little bit about COVID and how you kind of stayed loose and loosey-goosey during the COVID years. And we kind of got through that eventually, the pandemic and all the good stuff. And tracks started opening, fans started coming back to the races and everything like that. You must have been pretty excited to finally get back and just be racing normal, not knowing if you were going to be racing or weren't going to be racing or whatever was going on. Now, as far as home life, I know we kind of talked about the iRacing stuff, but as far as home life goes for you, Ray, what kind of stuff do you do besides racing? Like, do you find any interest in anything else when you're not racing, or are you just in the shop listening to the videos or whatever you got going on? What's it like for you, Ray?
No, I don't do much other than racing. I go to work and come home, and I go in the garage and work on the race car. There's really not a whole lot that excites me, like sports wise. I watch a hockey game here and there, but nothing really gets me going like racing does. I started watching a little bit of football. My girlfriend and her family, they love football, so I mainly go to football Sunday to see her family, and then they have really good snacks, so I enjoy that. But other than that, racing's pretty much all I do.
Excellent. Rob, do you have any questions or comments about that?
Well, he's talking about his girlfriend, Natalie Cordell, who is a Brock University graduate. Good for you, Ray. Like, you want to make sure you got your partner in life is a good, smart girl, and she is, and a pretty girl. Man, she's a nice looking girl. And she's out there supporting them too. I see her at the events and whatnot, and at Delaware. So it's good to have somebody on your side, and it's not bad if she's a football fan too. Yeah, football's good. I was never into sports other than racing, but football would be one thing I like. Now I will mention this, that Ray probably won't have a chance to tell us, but he's got his two cousins, Eric Morneau and Dylan Bradley are awesome hockey players. Like they led Lakeshore and to some great wins. I remember going down there and watching them, and of course the whole Morneau clan was down there too, supporting those guys. So yeah, he's got some hockey guys in his family, but he's not the hockey guy. He's a race car driver. Anyway, back to you, Craig.
All right. Well, you know what? At this point, I'm going to have to ask. We've heard a lot of Ray Morneau stories from Rob Young. Now we want to hear a Rob Young story from Ray Morneau. What's your best story you got for us, Ray?
I don't know of like a real, like nothing really sticks out. He's Robbie. He's Rob. I mean, he's the nicest guy. You go into his shop and he'll sit down with you, and it takes the time out of your day, and he's a great guy. One story actually I do have. Me and my dad went out there. We were getting something for Dad's camper, and Robbie brought me into his office. And you mentioned this earlier. You didn't bring it to your house, but you showed me that sponsorship proposal that I wrote up. I do remember doing it. It had a little picture of our sprint car on the top, and half the page was all my handwritten writing. It wasn't pretty, but I was amazed that he kept it, and it just shows what kind of guy Rob is.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I hope that now when Ray makes the Daytona 500, or if he makes the ARCA race at Daytona, or one of those big ones, yeah, I should get that thing laminated so I can show everybody. Hey, I know that guy. Yeah, I've known him since he was a little guy. But at this time, I don't want the show to go on without me mentioning all these people, and it won't take me more than about 15 seconds. Um, First of all, your dad Randy, your mom Lisa, and your sister Dana and her boyfriend Colton, they support the heck out of you. I'll go on to say your uncle Dan Monahan, Donna and Ed Revard, Don Robinson and Iron Mike, Ron and Andrew Mayu, and Marie Apollonio, Kendall and Stacy Reed, Chris and Kim Hebert, Pat St. Dennis, your Aunt Lori and Tom Bradley, your Uncle Rick and Joanne Morneau, your Uncle Ray, of course, the Delaware champ, your Uncle Rob and Diane Morneau and their family, and the Janice family. I'm only really scratching the surface of the people who support Ray. Every fundraiser, they're always there supporting them, and they have this thing at Delaware called uh, Pack the Track, and it's all a Ray Morneau thing. Like they got 200 or 300 people over there, maybe more. I don't know. Ray can tell us a little bit more about that, but what a huge following of people that you have, and that really think a lot of you, and you're an extremely talented driver and a really good representative of our sport. And I'm proud to know you, Ray. And I just thought I needed to take the time to mention those people that are behind you, and you just show up every night. Every time I've ever seen you race, you're right on top of your game. Uh, I can't say I've ever seen you make a mistake. So that I would say, well, he should have done this or that. No, you're just right on the money. So um, I'm glad I got a chance to just put that in there for you, Ray. So go ahead and talk about that for a minute or two.
Yeah, that's you hit all my family and all the crew that helps us. That's every, like I said, I'm very fortunate to have I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So to have them help me and want to do this and be successful with me, it really means a lot.
Okay, well, back to you, Craig.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rob was talking about you starting the Daytona 500, but before you can start the Daytona 500, you're going to have to pack the track at your local track where you're racing at Delaware Speedway. So why don't we get back into your racing career here a little bit? And 2021, as I was mentioning earlier, you kind of got through the COVID years, and finally the world came back to a little bit normal, and races were starting to happen. 2021, I see there's a completely different paint scheme on that car compared to what we were seeing earlier, some orange and some red stuff. What brought on that decision, Ray? Why did you kind of make such a change into a yellow looking car?
So 2021 was a big year for our team. We met Jonathan Arts from JR Excavating. Got to meet Ryan and Kevin as well, and they're a great family. And the reason for the paint scheme is Jack Monahan, close family friend. I worked for Jack. He used to be sponsored by JR, and that was the paint scheme back in, I want to say, 93, somewhere around there. And that's a scheme that he ran. So it was a big year for us. We got JR on board, and that really is when things started to not turn around for us, but really propelled us to getting more successful. And we ended up second in points that year. Fortunately, that was a it was a good, but it was right here, and we ended up second in points, 1 point out of the championship. So it sucks, but it would have been cool to bring a championship home for Jack. But it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions or comments about that?
Well, for us asphalt guys down here in the Windsor area, and Jack Monahan was the guy. He was my hero, and he was the guy that you went and you cheered for at the track, along with a couple of the other guys that Don Malott and Bob Merrifield and Junior Hanley and Don Biggerman, all those guys. But Jack was he was our hero. Everybody around here was a fan of Jack Monahan, and again, Ray's kind of following sort of in his footsteps. But that '03, he made that famous. The orange cars he made famous, and Ray's just honoring his memory by running that '03, and we're all proud to see that thing out there, and we're of course we're proud of you, Ray, and you're living up to his reputation as far as your driving is concerned, and yeah, you're just you're up to good work. Anyway,
All right.
back to you there,
So
Craig.
that's all really good. Now, as far as wins at this point in 2021, are you fairly competitive? Are you winning? Oh, you said finish 1 point out of the championship. Okay, so let's put that on a racetrack for us. What does that look like position wise? How close were you on the track to actually winning that championship?
We're one spot. Every spot's a point. So there's bonus points for leading a lap. So the whole year came down to one spot. It was pretty cool. We were racing Jake Sheridan for the championship, and I mean, he's an awesome racer. Really, really good. So that was really cool to be able to run with him and to come one spot short. It sucks, but to Jake, I mean, he's like I said, he's a really, really good racer.
Rob, do you have any questions or comments about that?
Well, Ray is, he's being humble, but he's every bit as laps. I know that those guys have a lot of money behind it, as good a race car driver as any of those guys. So I don't. Yeah, he may just it's just his humble demeanor that he says that he's honored to race or finish second to them. But no, the next time he'll be the one that wins. He's just that good of a race car driver. Anyway, back to you, Craig.
All right, so you finish 1 point behind in the championship, 2022. You go into the off season and you say, I'm actually gonna win this time. 2022, you were raring to go. What was that season like for you in 2022, right?
It was great. We came out of the gate. That was 2022. They repaved the track, so it was new for everybody, fresh for everybody, and we seemed to hit on it right away. We won opening night, and then followed up. We won 4 races that year, racing against stiff competition. Kyle Steckley, Connor Pritico. Those are big names. So it was awesome year to win the championship and battle against them guys. It was super cool. And then the end of the year, through the middle portion of the year, we were talking with my sponsor JR, and Jonathan Arts wanted to do the NASCAR Pinty's Series race. So I was very, very fortunate to do that with 22 Racing, with Scott Steckley and Kyle Steckley, and that was an experience. It was super, super cool. I felt like we were gonna be pretty good. We qualified 7th. I screwed up the money lap, the second lap. I drove into turn 3 like it was a late model and looped it. Just a dumb mistake. But we qualified 7th, and then we were up to 5th by like lap 6, I think it was. And then the power steering line blew, and by the time we got it all changed over, I think we we're 6 or 7 laps down, and just could never make it back up. But what a cool experience to have the year like we had at Delaware in the late model division, and then to cap it off at the end of the year, run the NASCAR Pinty Series. It was so cool.
Very good, very good. Now, some of these names that you're mentioning that you are battling on the track with, off the track, are you guys buddies, or are you guys bumping heads off the track? What's the atmosphere like at Delaware Speedway down in the pits when you're racing that close with that much good competition? What's the atmosphere like in the pits before and after the races?
Oh, it's always really good. I've never really had too many disagreements. Of course, you're gonna have some, but for the most part, I mean, everybody races pretty good and have a lot of fun.
Was there? I'm curious, Ray. This doesn't really have anything to do with this, but I'm just curious because this is all asphalt racing. Is that just what you wanted to do? Have you ever thought about trying your hand on a dirt track of some kind, maybe even running a practice, or have you run a practice? I guess would be the better question. And what did you think of it?
No, I haven't run one yet. Ron Mayu and Andrew Mayu were trying to get me in their car for a practice session last year, and it never worked out. I'd be nervous because I think Andrew would just school me on the dirt. But I'd really like to try. As Rob mentioned earlier, Chris Hebert, he has a dirt car now, and he mentioned possibly getting me out to try and practice in it. So I definitely do want to try it. Asphalt's just kind of the way we went to. It's a lot cleaner.
No, did we
Oh,
lose
I'm
everybody?
here. I'm not sure what happened there. I apologize about that, Ray. I kind of lost you at the end there, and I wasn't really sure if you were still trying to talk there. You kind of cut out. But I know that you. The last thing that I heard you say that is that the late model or the asphalt racing is a lot cleaner. But I wanted to I just wanted to bring that up because I actually wanted you to put the call out that you are interested in giving a practice run a shot at a dirt track. So anybody that's out there that's listening, if you got a car or seat available for Ray Morneau, he wants to try his hand at dirt racing, and I want to make sure that I'm there for that. So we might have to do some stuff here and make some arrangements and really blow this thing up for you, Ray. What do you think of that?
Well, I was thinking maybe we could just rent the track and have nobody there. I prefer that. I
Oh,
don't want to make a fool of myself.
well, that's just not going to work. We're going to have to blast this thing all over social media if you end up in a dirt car. Rob, do you have any questions or comments about that?
Well, you know what? I know he would be a standout, and he mentioned Chris Hebert and Andrew Mayu. Both those guys. Now they do practice on Friday nights, but might have a conflict with your Delaware stuff. But that would give you a chance to run a few laps down there. And one more thing back to uh, Craig, you asked Ray about how he gets along with the other drivers off the track. In case you didn't mention, he's got 6 most popular driver awards and most sportsmanlike driver. And I mean that's something that comes from how you get along with those other guys, so that's a good reflection of how he does get along with them. But just because you asked that question, anyway, I think he'd be great on the dirt. I'm sure that there will be some opportunities coming up here for you, Ray. We, of course, we all want to be there and see that. And I know you'd be great. You've raced you raced a go kart on the dirt, and that's some of the greatest drivers come from go kart racing on the dirt. So you're already there. You've got all that stuff is ready. You just need that opportunity, but. You're an extremely good asphalt driver, and I mean don't let anybody kid you. It's tougher in some cases to race a car in the asphalt than it is a dirt car. I'm not taking anything away from any of the dirt guys, but man, you got to be right on your game. From like the chassis got to be right on, and the dirt it's a little bit more forgiving. You can be a little off on your setup and still pick it up the next lap or two. But in the asphalt, as you know, Ray, I mean, you got to have everything. You got to have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. So I mean, that's and you're right. You and your dad got that down to a science. So that's I know that you'd be great on the dirt.
Yeah, I'd like to try it, but we'll see. The only way to find out is try it, I guess.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely. Well, sticking to what you know best, 2024 season, championship year for you this past season at Delaware Speedway. Talk about your 2024 season a little bit, Ray.
Yeah, it was really good. 2023 was a rough season for us. We built a new car after we won the championship, and just we never really got a handle on it. We kind of struggled a bit, got better toward the end of the year, We were also dealing with family health issues. My grandpa had passed away that year, and it was not taking a lot out of the family, but there was a lot of time spent with my grandpa and stuff like that. So we didn't it just didn't work in 2023. 2024, we focused all winter to get the car good, and we came out of the gate swinging, and we were really, really good. We won 4 races at Delaware, and then in the full season, thanks to Leuna and Jonathan Arts, and had a lot of fun touring. It's a lot different when you go to all these different short tracks, and we our goal for that season in APC was to get better at the track the second time we got there, and we accomplished it. We had a couple good runs right at the end of the year there, and we're gonna try and carry that momentum into 2025.
So you said you did some traveling with the APC series. Favorite track that you've raced at that isn't Delaware?
Probably Sauble. Sauble's a ton of fun. It's a 1/4 mile track. It's like a paperclip. It's 2 drag strips and a U-turn at the end. It's a lot of fun. It's got a curb up on the bottom, and if you nick it, it throws your car for a loop. So it's a technical track and a lot of fun.
Rob, do you have any questions about that? Yeah, he was. I thought he was going to say Jacasa or the old Cayuga track, but yeah, Sauble will be a fun little place to race at. But yeah, and he's raced at you raced at Flamborough, didn't you?
Yeah,
Ray?
yeah, we ran Flamborough twice. You mentioned Jacasa. That is probably my favorite track, like overall. We just haven't run there in a while, and hoping that something happens there. It's a beautiful facility to be sitting there, but definitely hope something happens with it. But for the meantime, we'll continue on with the APC series.
Excellent, excellent. If money was no object, you could go anywhere, you could do anything. What's the dream race for you? Dream tracks, dream series? What is it for you, Ray Morneau?
I'd love to run an outlaw super late model. That's what what I grew up watching at Flat Rock Speedway when I was running the street stocks. They are the most badass machines on the planet. They are so cool. The motors in them are unreal. It's awesome just to hear them idling. It's it's so sweet. So that would be something I'd love to run. And the track would probably be either Jacasa or Toledo Speedway. Toledo Speedway is crazy fast. It's when something happens, you realize how fast it is. but it's a super cool track.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions or comments about that?
Well, I'm sure he wouldn't turn down a chance to run an Arctic car. That would be a neat thing to see you and Ray. Like I know a lot of the guys from around here are making a bit of a footprint in ARCA racing. So I'm sure that your name's going to be floating around there in the next couple of years, and you're the right age. I'd love to see something like that for you. But anyway,
all right. Well, no matter whether it's a super outlaw or a pro late model at Delaware Speedway, it takes all kinds of stuff to get these cars to and on the track. Do you have some sponsors and some people that you would like to thank, Ray?
Yeah, we have an army. Like Rob had said earlier, between my family, friends, crew, everyone that helps puts an effort into our racing program. It means a lot. We got a lot of partners here. I'll start with JR, Jonathan, Ryan, and Kevin. They're unreal. They do everything for me, and I really appreciate it. We got Dutch Brothers, Toromont Cat, Expressway Trucks, Crown Comber, Iron Mike Industries, St. Denis Machining, East Elgin Concrete Forming, Rapid Drainage, Hallmark Memorial, Rob from Sun Parlor Trailers, Reed Farms, Dana's Desserts, Lakeshore Landscape, and Turner Landscaping. And then, of course, we have Leuna on the APC car and Jones Demolition as well. So lots of partners, lots of people that support our program, and it means a lot for where we were 5-6 years ago. I never would have expected we'd be two-time champions at Delaware in the late model division, and having our second season full-time on the APT Tour. It means a lot, and I don't know how to thank everybody enough.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. And to me, listening to you guys talk tonight, it sounds like you're going to be busy over the next couple of years. You're going to be running an ARCA car, a dirt car, the APC series, the late model. You're going to be a busy guy, so you're going to have to eat pretty healthy here. You might have to do away with the snacks if you're going to have all that endurance to run all those races. What do you think of that, Ray?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like this year, and thankfully it was not for the fans, but it was super cold. So in the car it was not bad at all. But if you got a hot day, I don't know if I'd make it.
Rob, do you have any other? I'm out of questions here. This has been a lot of information to take in. But Rob, do you have any questions or comments before we let Ray Morneau off the hook here?
Well, there's a reason why Ray has such a big following. It's just because his demeanor. He's all in as far as being a race car driver, and his whole family and everybody just wants to gather around and keep sort of pushing you along. And it's exciting to watch the gains that you make and all of the championships and whatnot, and running up front wherever you run. It's just I'm proud of you, Ray, and from where you've come from, and but I know that you do appreciate everybody that helps you, and they know that, and that's why they stand behind you. And plus, you put on some pretty good parties over there. Craig, I don't know, but Ray's mom, Lisa, is an awesome cook, and they get a whole bunch of potluck stuff coming along there. So if you ever get a chance to get to a Morneau party, don't ever pass that up. Like they have 2-3 of them a year, and it's a lot of fun. So you need to, yeah. I don't want to tell everybody about it because it's kind of a secret, right? So, but they put on a party. Like,
well, I'm gonna keep my ears peeled or my eyes peeled, because I definitely want to check out for these parties. I got to get to at least one to be that good. But Ray, do you have anything else that you think you want to tell us that you want to maybe mention to the fans that they think that they might need to know about you before we let you go?
The one thing I do want to mention is Rob had mentioned the Pack the Track night that we have. This year it's going to be June 20th. It's a 75 lapper for us, I believe. So we're kind of working out the details right now, but that's what we're aiming for. So if anybody wants tickets, we'll have tickets available. Just pay attention to our socials on Facebook and Instagram at Ray Morneau Racing. That'll be like Rob said. We have a lot of people out there, and it's always a fun event. My sister and my family they take care of that, and they do a heck of a job with that. Again, my family's all in the deal, and I can't thank them enough for putting the support that they do into my racing and wanting me to be successful. It's really, really cool.
Well, that's all very good. And Ray, we really appreciate you taking some time to talk to us on this Monday, March Break Monday. It's been a lot of fun talking to you. You're, I did an interview with you a couple of years ago, and now I've had a conversation with you. And like Rob said, you're a heck of a nice guy. You're very humble, and it's great to see. And we wish you all the best of luck in 2025 and wherever else your racing career takes you. We wish you all the best of luck, and maybe one day we'll get to see you start the Daytona 500. And that would be really, really cool to say, hey, I talked to that guy. I did an interview with that guy, and now he's racing Daytona 500. I'd be all right with that. So we wish you all the best of luck. And like I said, thank you very much for joining us on Circle Track Chatter, Ray.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. I'm going to take this opportunity. We had some technical difficulties there, so I know there's going to be a lot of skips and freezes, and I'm really sorry about that. We kind of got some wild internet, but we're doing our best. But we got a Ray on here, and we had quite a conversation. And Rob Young, he's a professional of this ordeal. He knew I was having some problems over here, so he jumped in there and took over when he figured out there's no sound, I better talk. So Rob, you always do a great job with that, and I really appreciate you covering for that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Ray really is a heck of a guy. Now that I've had some time to spend with him and talk to him, like we talked here for about an hour and a half tonight, which is absolutely awesome. He is a heck of a nice guy. You're right, Rob. I'm going to have to get up to one of them parties, June 20th. That's going to be the Pack the Track, and then the whatever the parties are. And Friday, May 9th, the Delaware opening night. Make sure you get up there and check out Ray Morneau, and then come on down to Buxton Speedway on Saturday, May 10th for their opening night. And I would say that's going to be a heck of a racing party for our area. What do you think of that, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, Ray, there's a from the Windsor area that races at Delaware, and it's on Friday night. We had Ronnie Beauchamp Jr. on here a little while ago, and these guys, again, they've raced for a long time. Their families are behind them, and it really is cool to see that the family is so involved. And yeah, that Pack the Track thing, that's pretty cool. You look over and you see all of these fans that are there, and I'm sure Delaware Speedway likes to see that. You get a bunch of people from the Windsor area up there, and again, it doesn't conflict with our local speedway at South Buxton because it's Friday night. So then you can go race, then you go and watch races at South Buxton on Saturday night. So yeah, it's a good deal.
Yep, there you go. Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you as always for joining us on Circle Track Chatter. This is a lot of fun. We have Cole Dupuis back in the production studio there. Great job by Cole. Thank you for getting all the pictures up there for us. Rob Young, my name is Craig Smolders. This has been Circle Track Chatter. We hope that everybody has a very safe March break, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your evening.